This is the weekly roundup on the EAC News Channel. You'll look back at the past week in the Kingdom of Wonder. A very good evening to you. My name is Paolo Bornini, and we start with Monday. Prime Minister Hun Sen, together with the Chinese ambassador Wang Wenqian, have led the inaugurational ceremony of the Moradok Daejeon National Stadium on Saturday. The official inauguration comes 4 months after it was completed. In his speech, Prime Minister Hun Sen has said that the stadium is another historic building for Cambodia and a landmark for Cambodian-Chinese relations. EAC News reporter Ria Soka has the story.
The Moradok Daejeon National Stadium is the largest of the building in the Daejeon Heritage National Stadium in Sangkat Prektasikkan Kroik Changba in Phnom Penh. Prime Minister Hun Sen has expressed his deep gratitude to the Chinese government and people for providing substantial grants to Cambodia. The Prime Minister has also thanked His Majesty, the late King Norodom Sihanouk, for starting to build relations with China and leaving a legacy of relations between the two countries for future generations. He hopes there will be no more pressure due to the close relationship between Cambodia and China. Prime Minister Hun Sen has delivered a message through the Chinese ambassador Wang Wenqian to thank the Chinese government and people for their generous efforts to provide assistance to Cambodia. The Prime Minister has recommended 5 points to launch the national campaign promoting the Southeast Asian Games and ASEAN Para Game, with Cambodia hosting in 2023. In addition, the Prime Minister has urged people to continue the vaccination of Cambodian citizens, especially the elderly and children. He said, "COVID-19 is not over yet, but Cambodia cannot shut down it forever." The Prime Minister has emphasized that the situation of the COVID-19 in ASEAN has decreased significantly and asked the people not to panic with the new variant. The construction site of the stadium was inaugurated under the presidency of Prime Minister Hun Sen on April 4, 2017. The stadium received about $160 million in construction grants from the Chinese government. The stadium is built on an area of 16.22 hectares with a construction area of about 8.24 thousand square meters, a large stadium that can accommodate up to 60,000 spectators and is capable of hosting national and international sports events. It will be an important stadium to welcome the Southeast Asian Games and ASEAN Para Games in Cambodia in 2023. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
More vaccines for Cambodia, this time thanks to Japan and COVAX. The Japanese government has donated 300,000 doses of AstraZeneca through the COVAX mechanism. The vaccines have arrived in Phnom Penh on Sunday evening, in the presence of Minister of Health Mom Bunheng, as well as the Ambassador of Japan to Cambodia, Mikami Mashiro. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the details.
WHO representative in Cambodia, Dr. Lee Ailan, and representative of UNICEF in Cambodia for Rule for Yozat were present at the Phnom Penh International Airport to receive the 300,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines. The vaccine is donated from Japan to Cambodia. Another batch of vaccines provided through the COVAX Facility Program, which is an initiative promoted by the World Health Organization in partnership with international development organizations to provide vaccines for poor or developing countries. On the occasion, Minister of Health Man Bunheng has expressed his appreciation to Japan for its assistance to Cambodia on battling COVID-19, while the Japanese ambassador Mikami Masahiro has reaffirmed Japan's support to combat the pandemic. Mikami Masahiro has also reminded Japanese assistance to Cambodia of $60 million in different fields of public health, such as medical equipment, renovation of hospitals, infection prevention measures at the border, as well as vehicles to transport and store vaccines. Recently, Japan has also provided finance of $227 million used to financially support Cambodian citizens affected by COVID-19, as well as to strengthen provision within the healthcare system. The new batch of vaccines are in addition to the 3 million doses that Cambodians have already received from the COVAX facility. In total, the kingdom has more than 41 million doses of vaccines against COVID-19 coming from purchases and donations. Of those, almost 8 million doses are Sinopharm vaccines, while nearly 30 million are Sinovac, 2.6 million doses of AstraZeneca, more than 1 million doses of Johnson & Johnson, and approximately 190,000 doses of modern vaccines against COVID-19. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Exactly 10 months ago on Monday, Prime Minister Hun Sen has put an end to the major outbreak in Cambodia, the February 20 community transmission incident. The Prime Minister has released a voice message on Monday, finally ending the biggest struggle of the kingdom in its fight against COVID-19. The February 20 community outbreak started when 4 foreigners escaped quarantine from Sokha Hotel, bribing security guards, which caused more than 120,000 infections, with over 3,000 people losing their lives. EAC News reporter Dishani Gochan has more details about Chinese people.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has surprised the whole country on Monday. He has announced the end of the February 20th community transmission event, the biggest struggle of the Kingdom of Cambodia, just in time when the kingdom has recorded no deaths for the first time in several months. The February 20th outbreak led to a total of 120,423 people infected with the virus and 3,005 people who did not manage to survive. The Prime Minister has made the decision to announce the end of the February 20th event in the wake of the new Omicron variant. 4 imported cases have so far been detected from international arrivals. However, the Prime Minister has urged people not to panic. In his speech on Monday, the Prime Minister said that the death toll has come down steadily to this day, with no deaths being recorded, and it is considered a huge success and big reduction in the struggle against COVID-19.
ឥឡូវនេះសភាពការបានឃើញបានបង្ហាញច្បាស់អំពីលទ្ធផលនៃការខិតខំប្រឹងប្រែងទាំងរដ្ឋទាំងអាជ្ញាទាំងផ្នែករដ្ឋផ្នែកឯកជនក៏ដូចជាប្រជាជនម្នាក់ៗក្នុងការការពារខ្លួនថ្ងៃនេះខ្ញុំប្រកាសបញ្ចប់ព្រឹត្តិការណ៍20កុម្ភៈមិនមែនមានន័យថាជាការប្រកាសបញ្ចប់ការប្រយុទ្ធប្រឆាំងនឹង COVID-19 នោះទេយើងគ្រាន់តែប្រកាសបញ្ចប់នៅព្រឹត្តិការណ៍20កុម្ភៈក៏ប៉ុន្តែការប្រយុទ្ធនឹង COVID-19 នៅតែជាកិច្ចការបន្តទៅទៀតកិច្ចការនេះมันអាចធ្វើប្រហែសបានទេសូមកុំឲ្យកើតមាននៅព្រឹត្តិការណ៍ដទៃទៀតសូមឲ្យការធ្លាក់ចុះនៃការឆ្លងធ្លាក់ចុះនៃការស្លាប់និងឈានទៅរកអត្រាសូន្យនៃការស្លាប់នេះឲ្យនៅបន្តទៀតតាមរយៈការខិតខំរបស់ប្រជាជនម្នាក់ៗគ្រួសារនីមួយៗសហគមន៍នីមួយៗក្នុងការអនុវត្តនៅវិធានការសុខាភិបាលជាមួយនឹងការខិតខំរបស់ផ្នែកសុខាភិបាលក្នុងការចាក់វ៉ាក់សាំងបន្តសម្រាប់អ្នកដែលមិនទាន់បានចាក់ដោយសារតែនៅពេលយុទ្ធនាការនៃការចាក់វ៉ាក់សាំងបងប្អូនខ្លះកើត COVID បងប្អូនខ្លះមានផ្ទៃពោះត្រូវឆ្លងទន្លេឥឡូវត្រូវបន្តការចាក់អ្នកដែលមិនទាន់បានចាក់
According to the Prime Minister, more than 14 million of the population have been vaccinated. However, he still continues to encourage everyone to get their booster shots. He has hoped that there will be no longer any community outbreaks to occur in Cambodia and that people can continue to learn to live with COVID-19. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Dubbed a journey of wonder, Siem Reap gears up to welcome back travellers with the latest initiative that captures the emotion, history and beauty of Angkor. In a stunning new short film, the campaign entitled A Journey of Wonder depicts an evocative story of voyage and discovery in one of the most important cultural sites in Asia. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has more.
The cinematic masterpiece was conceived by hotelier Ray Moraga, with the direction of cinematographer Oyen Rodriguez. The initiative gathered a powerhouse cast of people, including international artist Christian Develter and Mui Tiam Lim, celebrated fashion designer Eric Resina, artisan silk Om Sophia Peach, lacquer master Eric Stocker, as well as acclaimed groups such as the Sacred Dancers of Angkor and Fair, the Cambodian Circus. The 4-minute video is narrated by Ray Moraga, exploring Siem Reap while reflecting on his time in the kingdom. Ray Moraga brings the public through magnificent monuments and breathtaking landscapes of Siem Reap in the appropriate time of reopening of borders and resuming of tourism in the city. EAC News had opportunity to interview Ray Moraga, who explained more about the video campaign.
So A Journey of Wonder is a new Siem Reap campaign which was initiated by myself, Oyen, and a community of artists and people in Siem Reap. This short film captures really the beauty, the magic, and the history of Angkor, which is one of Asia's most important cultural sites. How we came up with the video is during the pandemic, we were thinking how to launch Siem Reap as a revitalized destination. So during the pandemic, there were a lot of articles and, mindsets have changed. So people want a more safe travel. They want more secluded destination, slow travel. And I think Siem Reap is the perfect match for all these reasons. So we engage with the different communities in Siem Reap, whether you're an artist, you're a chef, you have an important or a wonderful site that we could film. So basically it's a project for the community, by the community. So we started planning about this in July last year. So we tried to do the story, and we started filming in November. It took us about a month because there were several locations. We went to the temples, we went to Phnom Kulen National Park, Tonle Sap Biosphere Reserve, all these areas. So it took us about a month to shoot the video, and then Oyen edited the video, and it was ready by January. And we were waiting for the borders of Cambodia to reopen.
Among the scenes of natural beauties, cultural and traditions have also been portrayed, such as a unique khmer architecture, fine arts and crafts at the Team's Gallery and Stocker Studio, and the venerable technique of silk weaving and golden silk. The Apsara dance, declared by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity, has also been captured in the video. The campaign has been launched during the Angkor International Festival of Arts, organized by artistic director Aaron Karpin, with the presence of Princess Norodom Changsita, daughter of the late princess, as well as patroness of the arts Norodom Bupa Devi. Speaking with EAC News, Ray Moraga believes the Angkor International Festival of Arts is a landmark event for Siem Reap's tourism after hard moments of survival during the COVID-19 pandemic.
So it's the inaugural Angkor International Festival of the Arts. It's a great way to relaunch Siem Reap. So we say it's a renaissance for Siem Reap, having all the artists converge, both in person and also online. There were a lot of events happening throughout the week, whether it's in Angkor, traditional arts, and also contemporary, and also the Readers and Writers Festival happening around town. And we're so honored that we were given a chance to really have the world premiere of this campaign during the festival, and thanks to Aaron Carpen and Coralie Chapono.
He has also shared his feelings regarding Siem Reap's charm and magic that enchanted him since his first day in the city.
Well, I arrived in Siem Reap, I arrived in Cambodia in 2018, and living here has really been a gift. We're so fortunate to be surrounded with this majestic heritage structures, which is just really, like it's almost our backyard. And the Journey of Wonder video is a reflection of my journey, and I hope this will invite more tourists, more visitors to Siem Reap.
At last, the hotelier has also expressed his hopes for tourism in Siem Reap and the whole kingdom, which was being reopened for fully vaccinated tourists after a successful vaccination campaign promoted by the royal government.
I think it's very hopeful. Over last weekend, we had the Angkor International Festival of the Arts, which was very well attended. Also last week, we welcomed the first international flight to land in Siem Reap Airport. And today, the Prime Minister has officially announced that the community outbreak in February has been addressed and resolved. And I think overall, there's a positive energy, and we're excited to welcome tourists once again in Siem Reap.
In what is hoped will be an upcoming year of travel recovery, a Journey of Wonder video campaign aims to invite both domestic and international travelers to be amongst the first to rediscover the revitalized dynamism of Siem Reap and the once-in-a-lifetime privilege of seeing the architectural wonders of Angkor. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
The Minister of Education, Youth and Sports has announced that there will be no reduction of the high school exam this year. The Minister announced during the press conference on Monday. He says the quality of this year's exam is to be the same as previous years, as the ministry does not want students to get a so-called COVID degree. EAC News reporter Srepo Kong has the details.
The Minister of Education, Hong Chunaron, has stated that there will be no reduction in the number of high school diploma or Bachelor II exams this year. He says, although COVID-19 has affected students' education, the ministry is dedicated to encourage the student to study more rather than achieve a COVID degree. The minister has clarified that the quality of this year's exam is to be the same as previous years, to be strengthened based on quality. He has said that the Ministry of Education measures are to delay the exam to allow time for students to study and encourage them to study hard. He has added that, overall, they do not want that students to be discriminated against exam in the COVID era. Minister Hong Chunaron has emphasized that not meeting the standard will embarrass the student, and that they don't want a COVID degree. The ministry is aiming for the same quality of degree as the previous years. The high school diploma exam for the academic year 2020-2021 will take place from 27 December 2021 to 28 December 2021, with 114,183 candidates, including 6,397 females. The result of the exam will be announced on 18 and 19 January 2022. Srei Pokong, EAC News.
Cambodia has hosted the Asian Sailing Championship in Pria Sihanouk province between the 12th and the 17th of December. The championship had the participation of 27 athletes from Cambodia, Singapore and Malaysia, covering 5 disciplines. The results of the championships had a great result for Cambodia, with the hosting country winning 8 medals in total.
1 gold, 4 silver and 3 bronze. 8 medals that Cambodian has achieved during the Asian Sailing Championship. The Cambodian Paul Sela got the gold medal in the RS1 subject, while the 2 runners-up were also Cambodians. Chairman of the Technical Organizing Commission, Chan Kun Singh, has lauded Cambodian for the successful hosting of the sport event and praised Sihanouk's beach for its beauty and qualified standard for international competitions. The competition is a test field to measure and strengthen the capacity of Cambodian athletes for the Southeast Asian Games 2023 and the Asian Youth Games 2029, underlined Cambodian Tourism Minister Ton Kon at the event's opening ceremony.
The Vietnamese President Nguyen Chong Phuc paid a courtesy visit to the President of the Senate of Cambodia, Sai Chung, on Tuesday afternoon. This visit is part of the Vietnamese president's 2-day official state visit to Cambodia. EAC News reporter Deshan Agochan has more details.
After concluding his visit with the King and Queen Mother and laying a wreath at the Independence Monument to pay respects to the soul of former King Norodom Sihanouk, the Vietnamese president continued his official state visit by meeting the President of the Senate of Cambodia, Sai Chung. The 2 officials sat down and discussed bilateral relations and expressed mutual happiness over the good relations between Cambodia and Vietnam. The President of Vietnam began a 2-day official state visit in Cambodia, accompanied by a high-level delegation on Tuesday. He met with King Norodom Sihamoni and Queen Mother Norodom Moniniet Sihanouk, then continued on to meet Prime Minister Hun Sen and sign 7 important bilateral documents between Cambodia and Vietnam. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
The Omicron coronavirus variant has been reported in 89 countries, and the number of cases is doubling in 1.5 to 3 days in areas with community transmission. The World Health Organization has revealed its assessment in a conference on Saturday.
According to a technical brief released by the World Health Organization, the infection of the Omicron coronavirus variant is showing an apparent growth trend, compared with that of the Delta variant. The WHO report pointed out that by Thursday, the rapidly spreading Omicron has been found in 89 countries and regions around the world. The agency has said Omicron is spreading much faster than the Delta strain in such regions. Not much is still known about it 3 weeks after the WHO designated Omicron a variant of concern. The agency says more data are needed to judge the severity of the illness it causes. It said Omicron is spread rapidly in countries with high levels of population immunity. But it's unclear if that's due to its ability to evade immunity, its inherent increased transmissibility, or a combination of both. It warns that hospitals could be overwhelmed in some places. WHO's current data shows Omicron strain is very likely to replace Delta as the dominant variant in areas with community transmission.
In a horrific motor accident in Kampong Svai on Sunday, 6 people were killed. The accident was caused when a Toyota Tundra driving at excessive speeds lost control and ploughed into a group of motorcycles. It is being feared that the number could rise as many others were injured. It was at 12:30 in the morning on Sunday when a Toyota truck driving recklessly and at excessive speed collided with numerous motorcycles, leaving 6 dead. The dead have been identified as Ross Bunley, 22, Vath Panath, 21, Prum Mesa, 17, Pon Sapera, 21, and Bo Brosvin, 19. One has yet to be named. The carnage was caused by the truck travelling without due care, and it seems from eyewitness reports that the truck swerved and then hit the 4 bikes. It was yet another incident where the driver failed to stop and offer assistance to the dying and the wounded, but fled the scene, abandoning his vehicle. Now for a look at news making the international headlines this Monday, 20th of December.
2 children and 2 adults have been confirmed dead in a horror-like plane crash off Australia's east coast on Sunday morning. The 69-year-old pilot has taken the 3 passengers on a joyride. The plane went down close to mangroves in Moreton Bay at Redcliffe, northeast of Brisbane, shortly after taking off. The wreckage was discovered upturned in shallow water. The light aircraft took off from Redcliffe Airport north of Brisbane about 9 a.m. on Sunday. Police divers recovered the bodies of 4 people at 12 noon. The matter is currently under investigation, and authorities are working together with the Australian Transport Safety Bureau to determine the cause of the crash.
A drone footage from Sunday shows the extent of floodings in Malaysia caused by torrential rains, which has forced about 30,000 people to seek safety on higher, drier ground. Only roofs were visible and muddy floodwaters in parts of Selangor, the country's most populous state. Rescue efforts are still underway for those trapped in vehicles and outside of their homes, while reports from Saturday of those trapped at home have been resolved. Meanwhile, heavy rain and strong winds have forced the evacuation of thousands of people living along the Vietnamese coastline as the country braced for Typhoon Ray on Sunday. Strong waves and wind have killed a fisherman and sunk 5 vessels. Authorities have instructed fishing boats to take shelter with Rai forecasts to make landfall between Sunday evening and Monday morning. The army has mobilized troops to help build sandbag walls along the beach to prevent flooding. Authorities in the Philippines have evacuated at least 364,000 people across the Caraga, Central Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Northern Mindanao, Western Visayas, and Zamboanga Peninsula regions. Hundreds of schools and offices have been temporarily closed in the affected areas. As of Saturday, more than 100 fatalities have occurred across the Visayas, including at least 50 people from Bohol province and 20 in Negros Occidental province. At least 15 others died in the Caraga and Northern Mindanao regions. The casualty numbers will likely increase in the coming days. Reports indicate substantial infrastructure damage in Surigao City, Northern Mindanao. Landslides, falling trees, and power lines have cut off roads to the city. Reports also indicate flooding in Cagayan del Oro, Bohol, and Cabancalan, among other locations. A storm surge of 16.5 feet destroyed at least 4,000 homes in Sogod, southern Leyte. Typhoon Rai is the strongest tropical storm to hit the country this year. Rai is also the 9th storm to hit Vietnam this year.
And at least 15 people were killed and 16 others injured in an explosion on Saturday at a bank branch in Karachi's industrial area. A senior police officer has said the blast at a branch of Habib Bank, Pakistan's largest lender, could have been caused by a gas leak. The building has appeared to have been constructed over a sewage drain. Explosive teams are at work trying to ascertain the nature of the blast, but apparently the structure was constructed on a drain and gas could be a probable cause. A petrol station located next to the bank in cars parked nearby were badly damaged. A footage shows the bank floor ripped apart, exposing twisted iron bars. So far, 15 have died and 16 were brought injured to hospital, Karachi's administrator, Mortaza Wahab, has confirmed.
The Vietnamese President Nguyen Chong Phuc paid a courtesy visit to the President of the Senate of Cambodia, Sai Chung, on Tuesday afternoon. This visit is part of the Vietnamese President's two-day official state visit to Cambodia. EAC News reporter Deshana Gochan has more details.
After concluding his visit with the King and Queen Mother and laying a wreath at the Independence Monument to pay respects to the soul of former King Norodom Sihanouk, the Vietnamese president continued his official state visit by meeting the President of the Senate of Cambodia, Sai Chung. The two officials sat down and discussed bilateral relations and expressed mutual happiness over the good relations between Cambodia and Vietnam. The President of Vietnam began a two-day official state visit in Cambodia, accompanied by a high-level delegation on Tuesday. He met with King Norodom Sihamoni and Queen Mother Norodom Moniniet Sihanouk, then continued on to meet Prime Minister Hun Sen and sign 7 important bilateral documents between Cambodia and Vietnam. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Vietnamese President Nguyen Chong Phuc paid a courtesy visit to His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni at the Royal Palace on Tuesday morning. The President of Vietnam is leading a high-level delegation for a 2-day official state visit to Cambodia, starting on Tuesday. During his visit, the Vietnamese president presented King Norodom Sihamoni with a donation of $100,000 as support for the king's humanitarian mission to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in Cambodia. After concluding his visit with King Norodom Sihamoni, the Vietnamese president went on to meet the Queen Mother, Norodom Moniniat Sihanouk, at the revered Kontiat Bopa Shrine in the Royal Palace grounds. Previously, the former president of Vietnam had also met with King Norodom Sihamoni, Great Supreme Patriarch Tep Phong, Supreme Patriarch Bo Kri during an official visit to Cambodia, while laying wreaths at the Independence Monument and the flower baskets at the statue of His Majesty King Norodom Sihanouk, the former king of Cambodia. Just give me copy in the middle of the fucking night. Just give me the fucking copy. As part of his official visit to Cambodia, Vietnamese President Giang Song-Phuc has paid a courtesy visit to the President of the National Assembly of Cambodia, Heng Samrin, on Tuesday afternoon. Following the visit, the Vietnamese president also attended the groundbreaking ceremony of the new administrative building of the National Assembly, which the government of Vietnam provided $25 million to help build back in 2017, as means to a further strengthening the two countries' ties.
The President of Vietnam paid a courtesy visit to the President of the National Assembly, Heng Samrin, then continued on to attend the groundbreaking ceremony for the new administrative building of the National Assembly. At the ceremony, the Secretary General of the National Assembly, Leng Ping Long, stated that the building was a grant from the Vietnamese government to the Royal Government of Cambodia during a previous visit from the Secretary General of the Communist Party of Vietnam, Nguyen Phu Trong, on July 2017. He added that the construction of the new building will cost around $25 million and will be built on an area that is 27 meters wide and 49 meters long. The building will also be 12 stories high and have an underground parking space that can accommodate around 260 vehicles. Secretary General Leng Ping Long hopes that this building will be built according to these specifications and be strong and of high quality. He continued to say that he believes that this magnificent building will become a symbol of friendship between the nation of Cambodia and the nation of Vietnam. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
The president of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, Giang Song-Phuc, began his two-day state visit in Cambodia this Tuesday. The Vietnamese leader was warmly welcomed upon his arrival at Phnom Penh International Airport. During his day, Giang Song-Phuc paid a courtesy visit to His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni at the Royal Palace, as well as meeting with President of the Senate, Sai Chung, and President of the National Assembly, Heng Samrin. In the afternoon, the Vietnamese president also met with Prime Minister Hun Sen in a bilateral meeting at the Peace Palace. They came together to sign 7 important documents aimed to boost their bilateral cooperation in different fields, such as trade, health, and security.
The Prime Minister of Cambodia and President of Vietnam, Nguyen Xuan Phuc, have agreed to speed up the discussion on the recognition of COVID-19 vaccines and vaccination certificates to facilitate the movement of people of the 2 countries, as well as facilitate travel and trade. Prime Minister Hun Sen's assistant, Yang Sapalet, told reporters that both Prime Minister Hun Sen and the Vietnamese president expressed their satisfaction with the friendship between the 2 countries, with both nations partnering to boost trade and investment. In addition, to facilitate cross-border trade, the 2 sides agreed to expedite the recognition of COVID-19 vaccination certificate. After the meeting between the heads of government of the 2 countries, they have also signed 7 documents related to the cooperation between Vietnam and Cambodia on national defense and internal security, as well as education, employment, justice, economy, culture, technology. They have also signed the Action Plan 2022-2023 between the Ministry of Justice of Cambodia and the Ministry of Justice of Vietnam, as well as concluded negotiations on establishments of border trade agreements. By the end of this year, Cambodia plans to open its border with Thailand designating Cambodia as a safe place for entry and exit. Yesterday, Deputy Foreign Minister of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, Nguyen Minh Vu, also asked the Cambodian Ministry of Interior to review the possibility of reopening some border gates. In response, Secretary of State for the Ministry of Interior, Sok Pal, informed that the ministry has accepted the request and will review the proposal in more details before submitting to the royal government of Cambodia for a final decision.
The leader of the Khmer Rise Party, Sok Savan Watanai Sabung, also known as William Going, has been arrested on Monday, along with 13 other suspects connected to the robbery of the tycoon Ian Sir-May. Robbers disguised as authorities came to Ian Sir-May's house on Sunday to steal diamonds, jewelry, and iPhones. EAC News reporter Tashani Gochan has more details.
14 people, including the president of the Khmer Rise Party, Sok Savan Vatanasabong, also known as William Guang, have been arrested in connection to the robbery of tycoon Ian Sir-May. 12 suspects, including the Khmer Rise Party leader, were arrested on Monday night, while 2 other fleeing suspects were caught and arrested on Tuesday morning. Ian Sir-May was robbed of 3 diamond necklaces, other jewelry, and iPhones worth a total of $1.6 to $1.9 million on Sunday. The robbers came to the tycoon's house disguised as competent authorities with a fake arrest warrant and handcuffs to steal the items. The arrest of the suspects took place at a villa in Bore Peng Huot in Minh Chey District, Phnom Penh, led by the Deputy Commander of the National Gendarmerie and Commander of the Phnom Penh Municipal Gendarmerie, Lieutenant General Ruat Sriang, under the guidance of the Deputy Commander of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces and the Commander of the National Gendarmerie, General Sao Sokha. The Phnom Penh Gendarmerie reported that they were able to recover the stolen diamonds during the arrest and also confiscated 5 firearms. President of the Khmer Rise Party, William Guang, admitted that the robbery of Ian Sir-May was directly led by him, along with 4 other people under his guidance, who were armed with 5 weapons, 1 AK rifle and 4 pistols, and wearing police uniforms. William Guang added that when he entered the house, he was carrying a pistol and a device which disabled the mobile phone and internet service in the house. However, Guang states that because he was short-sighted and not wearing his glasses, he returned to sit in the car. Afterwards, his people stole Ian Sir-May's diamonds and returned to the car to make their escape. After an investigation that lasted 1 day and 1 night, The 14 suspects have been detained by the Royal Gendarmerie and are awaiting trial. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
An arrest has been made in connection with the horrific motor accident in Kampong Svai on Sunday, where 6 people were killed. What was initially thought to be an accident when a Toyota Tundra driving at excessive speeds drove into a group of motorcyclists now appears to be intentional, and the driver has explained his actions. EAC news reporter Kong Srey Po has the update.
It was at 12:30 in the morning on Sunday when a Toyota truck driving recklessly and at excessive speed collided with numerous motorcycles, leaving 6 dead. The dead have been identified as Ruh Bun Lee, Wat Panat, Prom Mesa, Pon Supira, and Bo Prohwin. One has yet to be named. In a police video, the driver of the Toyota truck, Lee Chamnan, has outlined what happened. At the video, a man is seen sitting in a chair explaining his action that night. In the clip, he explained he was assaulted by the 10 men who arrived on motorcycle outside of the Predong Pagoda. He ended up injured in the assault but managed to escape. The driver then retreated to receive medical aid at a local hospital. But while leaving, he was confronted by the gang for a second time. As a response, he retaliated by driving his truck at a speed into the gang, killing 6 of them. What at first appeared to be a simple case of negligent driving has now become one that could see Lee Jung-nan facing multiple murder charges. Kong Srey Po, EAC News.
The Jet Ski Pro Tour 2021 was held in Thailand, with the presence of athletes from other countries such as Cambodia, competing in numerous categories. It was a good result for the Khmer jet ski rider Saleh Omud, who was the gold medalist for the Asian Games in 2018, and now has topped the first at the Pro-Am Ski Modified Championship.
The Cambodian gold finalist Saleh Omud has shared his pride and happiness winning the games. He has stated he will continue to work hard for the sport, especially for the upcoming big international challenges. He added that during the Jet Ski Pro Tour of this year in Thailand, he did well, earning the first place during the first, third, and fourth rounds of the competition. The first round of the challenge took place on the 30 and 31 of October, while the second round was held between 20 and 21 of November. The third round was held on the 4th and 5th of December, and the fourth round during the 18th and 19th of December. Saleh Omud has not been the only Khmer athlete competing in the Jet Ski Pro Tour. Ming Mustan, Ming Osman, Kai Vengsden, and Salih Philing were the other Cambodians attending the contest.
The National Olympic Committee of Cambodia, known as the NOCC, has organised a seminar on Olympic education and women's equality in sports this Monday at its headquarters. The seminar and the participation of many female students and athletes. The Secretary-General of the NOCC said that this is a course to encourage the women's movement in sports, especially for the upcoming SEA Games in 2023, in which the Kingdom will be hosting the event.
Trainer of the NOCC workshop, Bui Suporn, said that the program lasted all day on Monday. In the morning, many experts gave a presentation on education and Olympic values. The NOCC annual important program also featured keynote speakers who won Cambodia's first Asian Games gold medal in 2014, Sorn Sivmay, and former Southeast Asian Games gold medalist in the wrestling category, Jo Sotira. The organizers brought all female participants to play badminton, with the NOCC collaborating with the Badminton Federation of Cambodia to provide national coaches and badminton players with technical support. He added he will continue to support more women to participate in sports and support the process of preparing for the 2023 Southeast Asian ASEAN Para Games. The International Olympic Committee has urged the national Olympic committees of each country around the world to make women's sports equal to men's sports, increasing the number of women in sports by at least 30%. Another important point discussed at the seminar was the importance of Cambodia hosting the 32nd Southeast Asian Games and the 12th ASEAN Paralympic Games. To encourage students and youth to participate in the kingdom's first historic sports event, which requires nearly 10,000 volunteers, the committee has requested the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports to extend the study vacation between the Southeast Asian Games, scheduled on 17th May of 2023. The Secretary General also stressed that the seminar aims to provide opportunities for young people and students to receive hospitality experience, support the organization of the competition, and see the progress of sports for the benefit of their study.
Now for a look at news making international headlines this Tuesday, 21st of December.
The Russian Ministry of Defense has released on Monday what they said was the first video of unmanned aerial vehicle Orion hitting an aerial target. The ministry has said in a statement that the new Russian UAV hit a helicopter-type drone during tests on the military training ground in Crimea. Orion can also conduct reconnaissance far apart from a base airfield for dozens of hours, the ministry added. Constant began the development of Orion in 2011 as part of the Russian MOD-funded Inokdets program. In 2013 to 2015, the company has revealed the first layout of the Orion. In May 2016, RIA Novosti has reported that test flights of the drone has begun. According to Russian Defense Minister, the Orion was tested for strike missions in 2019 in Syria. In 2020, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation has received one batch of Orion drones for trial operation. On 24 August 2021, it was reported that the Russian MOD and Constant has signed a deal for the procurement of 5 combat groups of an upgraded version of Orion.
Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa has returned to Earth on Monday after a 12-day journey into space, a voyage he said he saw as a dry run for his planned trip around the moon with Elon Musk's SpaceX in 2023. The 46-year-old fashion magnate and art collector, who successfully launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on 8 December, along with his assistant Yoso Rirano and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Mirsukin, landed as scheduled in a different location on the Kazakh steppe. Maezawa, a space enthusiast, has made the trip in a Soyuz spacecraft and became the first space tourist to travel to the International Space Station in more than a decade. The billionaire will become the first private passenger on the SpaceX moon trip in 2023 as commercial firms including Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin usher in a new age of space travel for wealthy clients. The billionaire, who sold his online fashion business Soso to SoftBank in 2019, is searching for 8 people who will join him in his moon voyage in 2023, requiring applicants to pass medical tests and an interview.
And the Associated Press News Agency has announced on Friday one of its photographers, Mahmoud Ilyan, was pushed and beaten by Israel police in an unprovoked attack while covering the protests requiring hospital treatment. There were also clashes between Palestinians and Israel police in the Flashpoint East Jerusalem neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah. The AP has said it was outrage, and the Foreign Press Association called for an investigation. In response, a police spokeswoman has said police officers use means to disperse riots to maintain public order and that the incident would be investigated. The United Nations Mid-East Peace Envoy was warned against escalating tensions on Friday after Palestinian gunmen have killed an Israeli in the occupied West Bank, and Jewish settlers were accused of attacking Arab villagers in the aftermath. Yehuda Dementman, 25, was killed on Thursday in an ambush on his car as he left Homish, an Israeli settlement in the northern West Bank that was evacuated in 2005 and is now home to a religious seminary. Palestinians have reported settlers attacking nearby villages, shooting, hurting stones, and injuring one man in his home in Karkyut. Settlers' leader said Palestinians also throw rocks at Israelis.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
During the second day of his state visit to Cambodia, the head of state of Vietnam, Giang Chong Phuc, has been received at the Prime Minister Hun Sen's home for a working breakfast. The three sons of the PM were also in attendance: Hun Manet, Hun Manit, and Hun Mani. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the story.
During the breakfast meeting held at Prime Minister Hun Sen's mansion in Tak Mao City this morning, the Prime Minister of Cambodia extended a warm welcome to the President of the Republic of Vietnam, who gave the highest honor to have a working breakfast at his mansion. During the family breakfast, which lasted for about an hour, Prime Minister Hun Sen and the President of Vietnam exchanged views on some of the work they had done together as head of government. The reunion had talks about solving problems that serve the interests and the people of both countries, especially the efforts to promote economic growth. The Vietnamese leader praised the historic and important achievements of Cambodia by the Cambodian people, in particular praising the national development, political and social stability, enhancing the role and image of Cambodia in the region and on international stage. At the same time, both sides expressed satisfaction with the development of the relations between the two countries in all fields, more effectively in the cooperation between Cambodia and Vietnam over the past 55 years, despite the spread of COVID-19. The two sides have also welcomed the bilateral cooperation in the fields of economy, trade, and investment, and agreed to promote the implementation of the Agreement on the Promotion of Protection and Investment, as well as the Agreement of the Avoidance of Double Taxation and the Facilitation of Trade, developing new trade and agreeing to promote the Master Plan on Cambodian-Vietnam Economic Connectivity. The two sides also agreed to expedite the signing of a border trade agreement and further agreed to expedite talks towards mutual recognition of passports, vaccination certificates, and vaccines to facilitate the travel of people on both sides, as well as facilitate trade and tourism. In addition, the two sides also agreed to promote and strengthen cooperation in the fields of defense, health, education, justice, as well as cooperation on international and regional affairs. In the meeting, Prime Minister Hun Sen has also thanked Nguyen Xuan Phuc, who has supported Cambodia in the past to make Cambodia chair the next ASEAN Summit. Yuri Matosco, EAC News.
The President of Vietnam, Nguyen Xuan Phuc, accompanied by his high-level delegation and the Cambodian Minister of Tourism, Thao Kun, paid courtesy visits to the Buddhist Great Supreme Patriarch, General Tep Phong, at the historical site Wat Unalam. He also visited the Buddhist Supreme Patriarch Bo Gri at Wat Svai Bo Per on Wednesday morning. These visits are part of the Vietnamese president's two-day official state visit to Cambodia, which began on Tuesday. EAC News reporter Dashana Gochan has more details.
The Buddhist Great Supreme Patriarch General Tep Phong extended a warm welcome to the Vietnamese president during his visit at Wat Unalom and expressed his gratitude to the president for taking the time to visit Cambodia and inquire about the Great Supreme Patriarch's health on this special occasion. The Vietnamese president and the Great Supreme Patriarch exchanged high-value souvenirs with each other as a symbol of strong solidarity for the people of Cambodia and Vietnam. The president also expressed his gratitude to the Great Supreme Patriarch for his continuous promotion of Buddhism, especially for the cooperation in the field of Buddhism between Cambodia and Vietnam. Concluding his visit at Wat Unalom, the Vietnamese president and accompanying delegation proceeded to pay a courtesy visit to Buddhist Supreme Patriarch Bu Kri of the Judiciary Committee in Wat Svai Po Pe. Supreme Patriarch Bu Kri welcomed the visit and stated that the Cambodian people will never forget the help and courage of Vietnam to help liberate Cambodia from the Khmer Rouge regime, which lasted close to 4 years. The Vietnamese president shared that he respects the right to freedom of religion and considers religion to be part of people's spiritual needs. He added that Vietnam and Cambodia are good neighbors and have good relations in all fields, and he especially thanked the head of government and the Cambodian people for providing both vaccines and medical equipment to Vietnam at difficult times during the COVID-19 pandemic. The president wished the Buddhist Supreme Patriarch Bu Kri a long and strong life in order to continue to contribute to the Cambodian government in leading the Buddhist sector to grow and prosper. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Speaking at the launch of the book, Strategic Plan for Social Service Force Training on Child Protection 2021-2025, Minister of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation, Vong Salt, has stated that vocational training in social skills is important to strengthen the capacity of social services, especially to provide high efficacy on social services to victims and vulnerable people. News reporter Yuri Matosco has the story.
Secretary of State for the Ministry of Social Affairs, Samhan Barros, said at the ceremony the Strategic Plan for Social Services Training focusing on child protection 2021-2025 was supported by the United States Agency for International Development, Japan Population Fund, and UNICEF. He added that the plan was drafted in mid-2020 and approved by the Minister of Social Affairs in February 2021 and has now been officially announced. The Minister of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation, Vong Sot, stated the goal of the ministry is strengthening capacity building of the social service to participate in social change, community building, and development within the sectors in community that mostly needs. He added that a well-developed social service force is a key to promoting social justice, reducing discrimination, and changing social attitudes that are dangerous towards vulnerable people. The social service helps to prevent and respond to violence, abuse, neglect of children, and all forms of exploitation of humanity. The main purpose of a strong force of social service is to achieve a society that promotes non-discriminatory participation of all kinds of people, such as women, people with disabilities, or the poorest in the society. The minister stressed that social service force is a common vision that refers to professionals and associate professionals in both government and non-governmental organizations working with children, youth, adults, families, and communities to ensure development and well-being. Taking the chance of speaking at the launch of the book Strategic Plan for Social Service Force Training on Child Protection 2021-2025, the minister also instructed all relevant units to provide continuous opportunities for training and professional development, strengthening human resources capacity, focus on data management, and information sharing at all national and subnational levels. He has also ensured the government must continue to build a mechanism of social that is in line with regional and global instruments, in particular promoting active support for the social protection system and enhancing closer cooperation with all stakeholders, both nationally and internationally. In 2012, Cambodia had about 1,551 social service providers, while a recent study found that Cambodia has one social service force per 12,500 people. The number is still insufficient for the deployment of one or two social services in the community, requiring a national plan to increase the human resources of the field. According to the plan, the government plans to create more than 7,000 social service workers at the national and subnational levels, including NGO partners. Minister Vong Sot is aiming to have 2 social workers or 2 deputy social workers in each community to improve the social service force in Cambodia in order to solve problems of poor and vulnerable victims. Yuri Matusko, EAC News.
The Cambodian Minister of Foreign Affairs Prak Sokhonn co-chaired the 19th meeting of the Cambodian-Vietnam Joint Commission on Economic, Cultural, Scientific and Technological Cooperation with the Vietnamese Foreign Minister Vu Thanh Son via video conference on Sunday. During the meeting, the 2 foreign ministers expressed their satisfaction that Cambodia and Vietnam have maintained close relations and cooperations in every aspect and at all levels, despite the complicated developments of the COVID-19 pandemic. Both sides shared the view that 2022 will be another significant milestone in the bilateral relations between Cambodia and Vietnam, as the countries will be commemorating the 55th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations. They urged to mark 2022 as the year of friendship between Cambodia and Vietnam. The meeting was held also to review the progress of the implementation of the record of discussions from the 18th JC meeting in 2022, and to further discuss and exchange views on various bilateral topics of discussion regarding politics, security, trade and investment, and socio-cultural cooperation. The 2 sides agreed to sign and implement a number of bilateral documents, including the Memorandum of Agreement on Education Cooperation for 2021 to 2025, the MOU between the 2 countries' respective ministries of agriculture, and the MOU on the cooperation strategy in the transport sector for 2018 to 2025. Regarding trade, the ministers noted with satisfaction that the 2-way trade volume between Cambodia and Vietnam reached nearly $6 billion in 2020 and is projected to reach $8 billion in 2021. On investment cooperation, the Cambodian side proposed an establishment Cambodia-Vietnam Special Economic Zone inside the Cambodian territory along the border with Vietnam. On tourism, the two sides agreed to closely develop the post-COVID-19 tourism recovery plan together and also explore possible joint tourist packages for vaccine passport holders. Both sides also expressed appreciation for the mutual support in financial and medical supplies for the fight against COVID-19. Regarding security and combating crimes, the two sides agreed to step up coordination. Both the Cambodian and Vietnamese ministers underlined the commitment to continue supporting each other in regional and international forays, particularly within the Asian and the UN frameworks. The Vietnamese minister particularly pledged to fully support Cambodia's ASEAN chairmanship in 2022. He also accepted Minister Prak Sokhon's invitation to pay an official visit to Cambodia in 2022 at their mutual convenience. The president of Vietnam, Giang Chong Phuc, accompanied by his high-level delegation and the Cambodian Minister of Tourism, Thao Kun, paid courtesy visits to the Buddhist Great Supreme Patriarch, General Thep Vong, at the historical site Wat Unalam. He also visited the Buddhist Supreme Patriarch Bo Gri at Wat Svai Bo Per on Wednesday morning. These visits are part of the Vietnamese president's two-day official state visit to Cambodia, which began on Tuesday. EAC News reporter Dashana Gochan has more details.
The Buddhist Great Supreme Patriarch General Thep Vung extended a warm welcome to the Vietnamese president during his visit at Wat Unalam and expressed his gratitude to the president for taking the time to visit Cambodia and inquire about the Great Supreme Patriarch's health on this special occasion. The Vietnamese president and the Great Supreme Patriarch exchanged high-value souvenirs with each other as a symbol of strong solidarity for the people of Cambodia and Vietnam. The president also expressed his gratitude to the Great Supreme Patriarch for his continuous promotion of Buddhism, especially for the cooperation in the field of Buddhism between Cambodia and Vietnam. Concluding his visit at Wat Unalam, the Vietnamese president and accompanying delegation proceeded to pay a courtesy visit to Buddhist Supreme Patriarch Bu Kri of the Judiciary Committee in Wat Svai Po Pe. Supreme Patriarch Bu Kri welcomed the visit and stated that the Cambodian people will never forget the help and courage of Vietnam to help liberate Cambodia from the Khmer Rouge regime, which lasted close to 4 years. The Vietnamese president shared that he respects the right to freedom of religion and considers religion to be part of people's spiritual needs. He added that Vietnam and Cambodia are good neighbors and have good relations in all fields, and he especially thanked the head of government and the Cambodian people for providing both vaccines and medical equipment to Vietnam at difficult times during the COVID-19 pandemic. The president wished the Buddhist Supreme Patriarch Bu Kri a long and strong life in order to continue to contribute to the Cambodian government in leading the Buddhist sector to grow and prosper. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Phnom Penh Capitol Hall has decided to support the Labour Rights Union of the Cambodian Workers of Naga World and has requested the union to prepare a list of workers who wish to claim compensation and those who wish to return to work, so that the Capitol Hall can mediate with the company to resolve the issue and make settlements. EAC News reporter Dashana Gochan has more details.
According to a press release issued by the Phnom Penh Capitol Hall on Tuesday, stakeholders attending the Naga World Labor Dispute Resolution meeting were able to convene on 4 main points of action, the most important being the move to prepare a list of workers who want to either receive compensation or return to work. Phnom Penh Capitol Hall also decided that Naga World should take the list of workers to verify their registration with the Ministry of Labor, and on the side of the workers' union, they should publish a decision to stop the strikes and to give the competent ministries and institutions time to mediate and resolve the disputes. The Naga World Workers' Protest Rally began on Saturday and has so far lasted for 4 days. The workers' union has accused the company of violating labor rights by laying off more than 1,300 employees this year. Additionally, more than 300 workers have refused to accept compensation packages offered by the company. NagaWorld in turn has accused the workers of engaging in illegal protests. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
The government of Japan has stated it will provide 10 waste collection trucks worth $250,000 to 10 provinces of Cambodia under the framework of the Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Projects. Besides the 10 waste collection trucks, the kingdom has also received dozens of vehicles and motorcycles from the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, which were used by police forces. The vehicles were given during a series of talks and meetings by the President of Vietnam in his official visit to Cambodia. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has more details.
The grant contract was signed on Tuesday between Cambodian Minister of Environment Sai Samal and Japanese Ambassador to Cambodia Mikami Masahiro. According to a press release of the Embassy of Japan, the assistance will contribute to protecting the public health and the natural environment, which will improve the quality of life of over 530,000 residents in the 10 targeted areas. Japan's Kusanoni project started in Cambodia in 1991 in order to support Cambodians' reconstruction and development in the grassroots level. The assistance aims to protect those who are vulnerable due to various factors, such as poverty and tragedies, as well as to promote self-reliance of local communities. Since 1991, the government of Japan has provided over $64 million for mainly local authorities and non-governmental organizations to implement 650 Kusanoni projects throughout Cambodia. The Kingdom of Cambodia has also increased its number of police vehicles, a gift from the Socialist Republic of Vietnam during the 2-day visit of Vietnamese head of state Nguyen Xuan Phuc. The vehicle consists of white police cars of the Vietnamese brand VinFast and Honda motorcycles given to the Cambodian Minister of Interior on Wednesday morning. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Defective goods, especially food products, can be exceedingly harmful to health. Over the past years, Consumer Protection, Competition and Fraud Repression, CCF, officers nationwide have taken steps to ensure that consumers are not purchasing potentially dangerous products. Earlier this week, officials of the CCF in Takao province have destroyed a huge volume of food products that were deemed unsafe for human consumption or unfit for purpose. Much of the food goods had expired beyond their sell-by date. EAC News reporter Darshana Gochan has the story.
The operation was held on the 20th of December at a landfill in Snau village, Takeo. The Director of Consumer Protection, Competition and Fraud Repression, Srey Sambat, together with other enforcement officers, publicly incinerated 3 tons of defective goods, most of the products confiscated from the markets in Takeo's capital area. According to reports, the goods that were destroyed weighed a total of 2,935 kilograms. Director Sambat has stated that the goods destroyed included canned goods, milk, as well as other processed foods and beverages that had expired. Others were much more serious infringements, as they contained harmful chemicals including methanol. The director appealed to business owners to keep correct business practices and not add banned chemicals to their goods. The director also urged them to check the expiration dates of their products, as the effects to the public could be exceedingly harmful. In recent months, the sale of illicit alcohol has caused the deaths of scores of people, bringing concerns from authorities of the quality of products being sold to the citizens. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Thailand will reinstate its mandatory COVID-19 quarantine for foreign visitors and scrap the quarantine waiver from Tuesday the 21st of December due to concerns over the spread of the new Omicron variant of coronavirus.
The decision to halt Thailand's test and go waiver means visitors will have to undergo hotel quarantine, which ranges between 7 to 10 days. Meanwhile, a so-called sandbox program, which requires visitors to remain in a specific location but allows them free movement outside of their accommodation, will also be suspended in all places except for the tourist resort island of Phuket. Government spokeswoman Thanakorn Wangbon-Kongchana has announced that after December 21, there will be no new registrations for Test and Go, only quarantine or Phuket sandbox. He added that about 200,000 visitors who had previously registered for the quarantine waiver and sandbox program will still be eligible. The announcement came a day after Thailand reported the first case of local transmission of the Omicron variant. Thailand has detected 63 people infected with the Omicron variant so far. Its public minister, Anutin Charnvirakul, has confirmed, with one case of local transmission and that the rest being imported cases. The first locally transmitted case was found in a Thai woman who tested positive for Omicron after contracting the virus from her husband, a Colombian who has returned to Thailand from Nigeria in late November.
On Friday, the WHO has issued an emergency use listing for the Novavax vaccine, made by the Serum Institute of India, the world's largest vaccine maker, paving the way for its use in low and middle-income countries, where the rollout has been much slower than that in Europe. The WHO's Strategy Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization, known as SAGE, have issued a series of recommendations, including the use of vaccines in persons with comorbidity and breastfeeding women and those living with HIV.
After reviewing Novavax data, the independent experts have claimed the vaccines could be used in pregnant women if the benefits of vaccination to the pregnant women outweigh the potential risks. Novavax said on Monday it had received the WHO's emergency use listing for the company's own version of the vaccine, which will be distributed in Europe and other markets. The company has also announced on Tuesday it had begun administering its first booster doses of the NVX-CoV2373 in a late-stage trial in people 18 years and older, paving the way for a fifth coronavirus shot in the region as the Omicron coronavirus variant spreads. Data from two large studies show the vaccine has an efficacy of around 90%, the European Medicine Agency has said, adding that there was currently limited data on its efficacy against some variants of concern, including Omicron. Novavax has added that it will start shipping vaccines to the EU's 27 member states in January. BioNTech, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson had already been approved for use in the European Union. But faced with surging infections, EMA has been speeding up reviews of other shots and treatments. Novavax protein-based vaccines use alternative technology to the other 4 shots, which makes it more interesting to the European Union as it has sought to diversify its portfolios of vaccines. COVID-19 infections have broken records in parts of Europe in recent weeks, with governments and researchers scrambling to bolster defenses against the fast-spreading Omicron, prompting renewed curbs ahead of the Christmas holidays.
The first text message ever sent on the 3rd of December 1992 from Britain's Vodafone network read "Merry Christmas" and was sold at Auget's auction house in France on Tuesday for a whopping $120,000 as a non-fungible token.
And a simple message, "Merry Christmas," is worth $120,000. The text, which was sent on December 3, 1992, was put up for auction by British telecoms company Vodafone. The online auction, organized by a goods auction house in France, has taken place on Tuesday. In France, it is forbidden to sell intangible goods, so a goods auction house gave tangible forms to this first text message with this digital frame which displays the code, the protocol, used to send the first text message. The buyer has received a replica of the original communication protocol that transmitted SMS, and proceeds will go to the UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Vodafone engineer Neil Petworth has sent an SMS from his computer to a manager in the United Kingdom, who received it on his 2-kilogram orbital telephone, similar to a desk phone but cordless and with a handle. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, are a type of digital asset that has surged in popularity this year, with NFT artwork selling for millions of dollars. Traded since around 2017, these digital objects, which encompasses images, videos, music, and text, exist on blockchain, a record of transactions kept on networked computers. Each NFT has a unique digital signature.
Portuguese kite surfer Francisco Lufina successfully sailed some 6,400 kilometers across the Atlantic, using only the power of kites to pull his small boat. The 38-year-old adventurer set out from Cascais, near the Portuguese capital of Lisbon, on November the 3rd. He has arrived in the Caribbean island of Martinique on the 20th of December, and is now looking forward to receiving his Guinness World Record.
Lufina was only at sea 25 of those days. However, a planned stop at the Canary Islands was prolonged due to the adverse winds, forcing him to remain there from November 8 until November 30.
This has been a hell of a challenge. There have been some problems with water getting inside the boat, inside the battery compartment. I've been having a few worries and some trouble to get it out, but I'm managing. And also some kites have exploded. I have now 3 standard kites, 2 7-meter kites and 1 25-meter big one. So I wish I had some more intermediate kites, but no. So I'm now using the 7-meter, very small kite, but it's fine. We're moving about 12 knots, from 10 to 15, which is okay.
Lufina made the crossing completely on his own in a 7.2 meter long and 5.6 meter wide trimaran with a small. He acquired fresh water for his trip using a hand pump that converted the seawater via reverse osmosis.
So I only take 15 liters of fresh water to drink, and that's in case of emergency, or at least for the last days. So to produce water, I need to use this water maker. I have 2 of these, which I can pump, and every hour I can make around 4 liters of water. So it uses inverse osmosis, so it removes the salt from the seawater, and I can get 4 liters of water every hour. And I do in terms of 10 minutes every time. So like this I can drink water, and I can use the dehydrated meals so that I can get some nutrients inside.
All the power needed on board was generated using solar powers, and Lufina steered his launch using remote controls that positioned his kites. The kite-powered vessel reached top speeds of over 30 kilometers per hour. With his mission completed on the other side of the Atlantic, now Lufina hopes to be inducted into the Guinness World Records for the fastest Atlantic crossing in a kite boat.
Hello!
Now for a look at news making international headlines this Wednesday, the 22nd of December.
Iran's Revolutionary Guards have fired ballistic and cruise missiles on Tuesday during war games in the Gulf, amid growing tensions with the United States and Israel over possible Israeli plans to target Iranian nuclear sites. Guards Chief General Hossein Salami says the use of ballistic missiles by the Revolutionary Guards Navy is a new concept, and they hit their targets with 100% precision. Iran says its ballistic missiles have a range of 2,000 kilometers and are capable of reaching arc foe Israel and U.S. bases in the region. On Monday, Iran has warned of a crushing response to any move against it by Israel, which opposes efforts by world powers to revive Tehran's 2015 nuclear deal and has long threatened military action if diplomacy fails to prevent it from acquiring a nuclear bomb. Iran says its nuclear ambitions are peaceful. Israel is widely believed to be the only Middle Eastern country with a nuclear arsenal. The exercises also included the simultaneous firing of 5 cruise missiles and the launch of armed drones capable of hitting 2 targets each. The 5-day drills began on Monday. The 5-day annual exercise that began on Monday came days after the breakup of talks to revive Tehran's nuclear deal with world powers. Iran has accelerated its nuclear advances as negotiations to return to the accord struggle to make headway. Israel has repeatedly threatened unilateral action against Iran's nuclear program. As the military exercise kicked off Monday, a top Iranian commander threatened that any Israeli strike will draw an Iranian response that targets all elements of the infrastructure used in the attack, an apparent reference to the range and accuracy of Iran's missiles.
Bridge collapses into a river in Marana town, Santa Cruz, central Bolivia on Monday, as heavy flooding sweeps rolled away. The heavy rains have also damaged dozens of houses and crops. Santa Cruz authorities have not reported deaths. A footage on Tuesday shows flood water had not receded in parts of Malaysia, with search and rescue operations continuing. One of the worst-hit neighborhoods, Taman Seri Muda, in the country's most populous and richest state of Selangor, still saw vehicles half submerged after unusually heavy rainfall had started on Friday. Selangor Chief Minister Amiruddin Shari has confirmed on Tuesday at least 17 people in Selangor state had been found dead, but is not certain if all the deaths were flood-related yet. 8 Malaysian states have been hit by the floods this week, displacing more than 70,000 people, according to the National Disaster Management Agency. Malaysian Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob has acknowledged weakness in flood management, as the blame game began over the slow response in the country to one of the most devastating floods in recent memory. Critics, particularly from the opposition-ruled Selangor state, have slammed the government for not taking the situation seriously when flood waters began rising precipitously, with questions being raised over whether bureaucratic foot dragging also delayed rescue operations. Selangor Mantri Besar Amiruddin Shari has said on Tuesday that the state had been preparing for floods since November, but the unusually bad weather saw the amount of rain for 1 month falling in 1 day.
And heavy snow has caused disruptions in Turkey's mainly Kurdish southeast and eastern province, blocking roads and leaving motorists stranded. A footage shows drivers struggling to push their vehicles through snow drifts. Authorities have said 30 drivers were rescued on Sunday and roads to 63 villages were shut because of the blizzard. The Meteorology Office has said strong snowfalls will continue in southeastern and eastern parts of Turkey in the coming days.
Thursday morning, and Prime Minister Hun Sen has presided over the inaugurational ceremony of the new office building for the General Department of Customs and Excise of the Ministry of Economy and Finance. The date coincides with the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the Customs Administration in Cambodia. In addition to the inauguration of the administration building, the ceremony has also been linked to the inauguration of the National Customs School and the Customs Museum, which is under renovation. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the details.
The 35-story administrative building of the General Department of Customs and Excise of Cambodia was officially inaugurated on Thursday morning under the High Presidency of the Prime Minister of Cambodia. The new building started construction in February 2017 and completed in July 2020. It is 120 meters high, 54 meters long, and more than 26 meters wide. With the budget of $33 million, the GDC's new office building is composed of office, meeting rooms, canteen, fitness club, sauna rooms, and a sky bar on its top. The General Department of Customs and Excise of Cambodia was established during the Samkhong era by the Royal Crown, dated back in 1951. During the Khmer rule regime between 1975 and 1979, the operation of the General Department of Customs and Excise was suspended. The unit resumed operations on July 1979 under the auspices of the Ministry of Commerce. However, it was transferred under the supervision of the Ministry of Economy and Finance through a sub-decree dated in March 1988. The Customs and Excise Office was established as the General Department of Customs and Excise of Cambodia through a sub-decree in 2008. Now, with its new office building, the Cambodian Customs and Excise Administration building not only enhances the image of state institutions and provides a suitable place, but it also shows the progress of the kingdom under the leadership of Prime Minister Hun Sen after the remnants of the flames of war, with the Prime Minister strongly supporting modernization of the national sovereignty services. At the inauguration ceremony, Prime Minister Hun Sen said the GDCE and the General Department of Taxation are the two major institutions representing the sovereignty services of the nation. Prime Minister Hun Sen expressed his firm stance to protect the sovereignty services and oppose any attempt to interfere in them, revealing that some foreign experts had recommended Cambodia to sell the customs services to private company under customs services reforms. In addition to the inauguration of the administration building, the National Customs School and the Customs Museum have also been inaugurated. The construction of the National Customs School began in October 2019, costing $9.5 million. It was completed in October 2021. Set at the OCIC Development Area, Kanchroy Changva, Phnom Penh. It has 12 floors, reaching a total area of 20,000 square meters. The Customs Museum building was renovated in August 2020 and completed in November 2020, costing $350,000. During the ceremony, Prime Minister Hun Sen has delivered strong messages regarding untaxed vehicles on the roads, as well as regional matters, such as his position to maintain Myanmar's seats at the ASEAN group. Prime Minister Hun Sen has also stated that even after he has resigned from his role as Prime Minister in the future, Deputy Prime Minister Amphan Mandirot will continue to retain his position as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economy and Finance. Deputy Prime Minister Amphan Mandirot was the former personal secretary of Prime Minister Hun Sen since 1991 when he returned from studying in Russia. He has been serving as the Minister of Economy and Finance since 2013, after many years as Secretary of State. Prime Minister Hun Sen has also spoken regarding the Director General of the General Department of Customs and Excise, Kam Yim, expressing his command of postponing Kam Yim's retirement for 2025. The Prime Minister has stated that Kam Yim should postpone his retirement since he hasn't shown any sign of age, having strength and ability to lead the customs institution, an important sector of government responsible for collecting national income and revenues. The current Director General of the General Department of Customs and Excise, Kam Yim, has been in charge since September of 2014, replacing Mr. Pen Simon, who retired. The Prime Minister of Cambodia has also announced the royal government will not increase the salaries of civil servants and the armed forces in 2022, but if the economic of COVID-19 crisis is better and the income increases, the royal government will increase the salary in 2023. Prime Minister Hun Sen has requested the understanding and tolerance of civil servants and the armed forces for the inability to increase the salaries in 2021 until 2022. Prime Minister Hun Sen stated that, however, the royal government has made efforts to maintain macroeconomic stability, curb inflation, maintain the purchasing power of the Cambodian riel in order to keep the prices of goods in the country from rising. His message stressed that won't increase the salary, but won't let the prices of goods go up. The head of state also called on civil servants and armed forces of all levels of administration to participate in tax collection to increase the national economy and lead to an later increase of salaries. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen once again announced that vehicles that have not yet had their taxes paid before the deadline of the 31st of December this year will not be allowed on the roads. He made this announcement during his speech on Thursday morning while inaugurating the new 35-story administration building for the General Department of Customs and Excise of Cambodia. EAC News reporter Dashana Gochan has more.
Prime Minister Hun Sen called on all car owners to hurry up and pay their taxes before the deadline on 31st December 2021 in order to receive a 10% tax concession. He stressed that those vehicles which have not yet had their taxes paid for after this deadline will no longer be allowed to drive on the road. According to the General Department of Customs and Excise, as of 14 December 2021, there are still around 3,000 registered vehicles with unpaid taxes, both left and right-hand driving cars, under various license plates, with unpaid taxes amounting to more than $28 million. The department also estimates that there are many vehicles that are using fake special license plates, such as KM military license plates, to avoid paying taxes. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has shared pictures of a handwritten letter sent by his son, Hun Manet, in 1994, whilst he was studying at New York University. The Prime Minister wrote in a Facebook post that he decided to share this personal family letter since nearly 3 decades have passed, and many of the aspirations his son wrote about have come to fruition. EAC News reporter Dashani Gochan has more.
Prime Minister Hun Sen shared a handwritten letter sent by his son Hun Manet from 28 years ago and addressed to his parents while he was studying in New York. In the letter, Hun Manet describes his study goals, including studying to become a pilot or infantryman and studying economics and politics up until his PhD. Prime Minister Hun Sen proudly wrote in his Facebook post that his son already has the economic, political, and military knowledge as contained in the letter, including a PhD in economics. The Prime Minister explained that he wished to share this letter in order for the public to get to understand his son better. He added that what is not contained in the letter is that Hun Manet went to Congo for an internship with the World Bank after earning his Master's of Arts in Economics at New York University. Prime Minister Hun Sen also shared that his son had once gone to live with a host family in France, where he was hired to pick apples and learn French, and that while he was studying for his doctorate in the UK, his son had taught math to second and third year students to earn some extra money to reduce his parents' expenses. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
An inauguration ceremony of the new office building of the General Department of Customs and Excise this morning, Prime Minister Hun Sen has stated the royal government is preparing the 4th doses of Australian-donated Pfizer for the frontline officials, as well as planning measures to prevent a national lockdown. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has more information.
Speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the new office building of the General Department of Customs and Excise, Prime Minister Hun Sen said the COVID-19 pandemic has so far killed more than 3,000 people. But with the daily cases dropping nearly to zero, the big challenge now is economy recovery. He has stated that if the national economy fails, it can affect the whole 16 million Cambodian citizens. The Prime Minister continued that more than 3 million people have already accessed the 3rd doses of COVID-19 vaccine, while the 4th doses will be reserved for some 500,000 frontline workers. According to Prime Minister Hun Sen, the 4th doses for the frontline officials will be Pfizer vaccines donated by Australia. At the same time, he pointed out that 8 cases of Omicron have now been detected in Cambodia, but all are imported cases. He once again appealed to the public not to get into panic. The head of state of Cambodia reminded his compatriots to stick to the health preventive measures and to get vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said on Tuesday that there were no plans for an in-person meeting between the President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin amid tensions over a Russian troop buildup on its border with Ukraine.
It was pretty unlikely that a face-to-face meeting between President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin would take place as Russia continues to build up its military along its border with Ukraine. The United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken further says that they have to see if there is any progress diplomatically. He has even mentioned that the United States wants to see Russia de-escalate, to move forces back from the border with Ukraine and reduce the tension. The United States simply wants to see Russia pull back forces from the border and to see Russia engage in good faith in diplomacy and diplomatic dialogue with Europe and with Ukraine to resolve the conflict in eastern Ukraine and to give Ukraine its borders back. The group of 7 countries, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the US, have released a statement condemning Russia's actions at the Ukraine border.
When it comes to Ukraine itself, we've long said that the best way to resolve the conflict in eastern Ukraine and to restore to Ukraine the border that it's entitled to is through the so-called Minsk process, the agreements that Russia and Ukraine reached many years ago now to resolve these differences peacefully. And there, we're very much prepared to try to facilitate that, to act in support of what France and Germany are doing with Russia and Ukraine and what's called the Normandy format. So we're working on all of those lines. Whether that leads to, at some point, another meeting between the president and President Putin, I leave that for another day. There are no plans to do that now. I think we have to see if, in the first instance, there's any progress diplomatically. We also want to see Russia de-escalate, to move forces back from the border with Ukraine, to take down the tension. It's much more appropriate to have a conversation in those circumstances than it is when the escalation is happening, not de-escalation.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, please, please wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Two female Cambodian karate experts have won 2 bronze medals at the 17th Asian Karate Championship Seniors in the city of Almaty in Kazakhstan. The event lasted for 4 days, from the 19th to the 22nd of December, and had the participation of athletes from 45 countries across Asia, including the Cambodian national karate team.
After 2 days of competition, the Cambodian athletes have won 2 medals. Lim Sok Vichika won a bronze medal in the women under 59 kilograms category, and Chorn Srefia won a bronze medal for the under 21 women's under 55 kilograms event. Lim Sok Vichika expressed her happiness after winning the bronze medal, as this is the first time she has participated in the Asian Championships. She said she is very happy even though she did not win a gold medal, since this is her first time participating. Lim added that this is a good result after going through 4 tough matches. Some athletes of the Cambodian national karate team have already finished their involvement in the competition, while some others will continue to compete on the 21st and 22nd of this month, for the hopes of bringing more medals to the nation.
Chinese tennis star Peng Shuai said on Sunday that she had never accused anyone of sexually assaulting her, and that a social media post she had made earlier last month had been misunderstood. Peng's well-being became a matter of concern among the global tennis community and human rights groups when she alleged that a former Chinese vice premier, Zhang Guoli, had sexually assaulted her in the past. After that post, she was absent from public view for nearly 3 weeks.
On 2nd November, Ms. Peng posted a 1,600-word note on Weibo addressed to Mr. Zhang, claiming they had a romantic relationship and that he had also coerced her into sexual intercourse. The post was swiftly scrubbed from Weibo, but not before it went viral. Ms. Peng then vanished from public life for weeks, sparking concern worldwide about her safety. A Where is Peng Shuai hashtag campaign was launched, fueled by calls from other tennis stars including Naomi Osaka, Serena Williams, and Novak Djokovic. The Women's Tennis Association has led calls for an investigation into her initial claims. Chinese state media subsequently published pictures of her and carried a widely questioned email that she purportedly wrote to the WTA where she said everything is fine. The International Olympics Committee also spoke to Ms. Peng twice in video calls, in which she reportedly said she was safe and well. But many continue to believe the tennis star is under state duress and is being censored. Peng's remarks on Sunday marked the first time she had addressed the matter on camera in public. She spoke on the sidelines of a cross-country skiing event in Shanghai. Peng said in the video posted by Lian Zhaobao, a Singapore media outlet, "First, I need to stress one point that is extremely important. I have never said or written that anyone has sexually assaulted me. I have to clearly stress this point." She said that her post on Weibo, a Twitter-like social media site, which had been quickly removed, was a private matter. 35-year-old Peng said in the video that people have many misunderstandings about her Weibo post. She did not elaborate on this any further. She also said she has been living at home in Beijing without supervision. In the video, she was not asked about Zhang and she did not mention him.
Back in 2015, when Beijing was named as the host for the 2022 Winter Olympics, Shanghai entrepreneur Yi Kai decided to tap into the growing enthusiasm for the winter sports within the country. 3 years later, with 2 Austrian partners, Yi opened a store centered on an alpine simulator, a supersized treadmill for snowboarders and skiers to get a taste of the slopes without having to actually leave the urban city. Now the chain is looking forward to expanding its business amid the upcoming Beijing Olympics in February.
6-year-old Li Wenxuan moved skillfully on her skis as she listened to her instructor during a training session. This would have looked like a normal skiing class, except Li wasn't on a mountain slope in the outdoors. Instead, she was in a stylish mall in China's commercial capital of Shanghai. As shoppers and children watched from various points of view in the mall, Li, fully equipped with ski gear and a helmet, zipped from side to side on a moving slope which ran underneath her.
I love skiing. I come to ski 6 times a week. Skiing here make me feel the same as skiing on real snow. I want to be a champion in the Olympics.
Snow 51 has indoor skiing, so I brought her here to have a try. She really wants to participate in this sport. Even when I told her I would like to buy her a gift, she told me no, and she only wanted to ski. So we resolutely signed her up for the ski course. At the beginning, I wanted to train her courage and sporting spirit, but slowly I found out she's quite suitable for this sport, and she's pretty good at it. So after participating in several competitions, she has decided to want to become an athlete, and we will absolutely give her our support.
Snow 51 has now grown into a chain comprising of 23 outlets in high-end shopping malls in cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen. It is one of many local winter sports businesses that have sprung up since Beijing's Winter Olympics announcement, with the hope that the fervor will persist beyond the Games, especially for young skiing aspirants like Li.
It imitates the feeling of real snow, with a very special layer of material on it. When we ski and train on this machine with this layer of material, the equipment used and the essential movements are exactly the same as those on real snow. But compared with real snow, its friction is 4 to 5 times that of real snow, so because of its much greater friction, you have to do curving movements.
The founder of Snow 51 plans to expand the number of their stores to some 300 facilities in the next 5 years.
The National Hockey League confirmed on Wednesday that it will not permit its players to compete in the men's ice hockey tournament at the Beijing Olympics due to COVID-19 concerns at the highly transmissible Omicron variant as the coronavirus spreads globally. This will be the second successive Winter Olympics that the NHL has withdrawn their players, having pulled out from the 2018 Pyeongchang Games over fears of possible player injuries.
The NHL agreed last September to pause its regular season so the world's top players could compete in Beijing, with the caveat it could withdraw if COVID-19 disruptions forced games to be rescheduled during the Olympics window. That had begun looking increasingly likely in recent days, with the NHL being forced to postpone 50 games in Canada and the United States after a growing number of players entering COVID-19 protocols, while Omicron tore through professional sports leagues with fully vaccinated players testing positives.
On the Olympic thing, I think if that is the case, it's obviously, in my opinion, a smart decision. I mean, I don't know who would really want to go under those circumstances, especially, I just put myself in that situation with a family and this and that. There's zero chance that you'd want to run the risk of being stuck over there.
The NHL had until the 10th of January to withdraw from the Beijing Olympics, held between 4th and 20 February without financial penalty. Players had mostly been eager to return to the largest international stage, but concerns that a positive test in China could lead to a 21-day quarantine and delay returning to their families and NHL clubs had dampened that enthusiasm for some.
Being able to be stuck over there with the whole quarantine situation, but at the end of the day, I mean, you always, if you have a chance to represent your country, it's always a big honor and you want to do that. But at the same time, I mean, there's a lot on stake. And so, I mean, we just got to see what the decision going to be, and whatever case it will be, we'll see how it goes.
Australian Open tournament director Craig Tiley said on Wednesday he was confident that Spanish tennis player Rafael Nadal would be at the Melbourne Park for next month's Grand Slam, despite testing positive for COVID-19. But he was still uncertain whether nine-time champion Novak Djokovic would play.
Nadal caught the novel coronavirus while playing in an exhibition tournament in Abu Dhabi last week and said he would make a decision on his future tournaments depending on his evolution over the weeks ahead. Tiley reiterated that all players and staff at the Australian Open will be vaccinated or have a medical exemption granted by an independent panel of experts. Those requirements have prevented Djokovic, who has declined to disclose whether he's vaccinated, citing privacy, from confirming whether he will bid for the 21st Grand Slam title and a 10th Australian Open crown next month.
Players that are testing positive now, as you read this morning, Rafa from last Saturday, they will complete a period of time when they're not and become no longer infectious, when they're shedding the virus, and then they will be fine. So getting positive now is actually probably, if you're going to get positive, a good thing. Never getting positive is a good thing, but if it's going to be a situation where you want to play the Australian Open, your timing would be now. So
Tiley said that as far as he was aware, no players had been granted medical exemption, and it would be up to Djokovic to disclose the grounds on which he gained entry to Australia.
if Novak shows up at the Australian Open, he'll either be vaccinated or he'll have a medical exemption. Now, his choice on his medical condition is his choice to keep personal and private, like all of us would do with any condition we may or may not have. So we are not going to force him or ask him to disclose that. Everyone needs to know that the condition of entry would be those two requirements, and it's rigorous. It's not that straightforward.
The 2021 National Boxing Championship has been organised as a warm-up for the SEA Games 2022 to 2023. The event is happening from Thursday until Sunday with the purpose of strengthening the sports for the upcoming 2023 SEA Games, in which Cambodia will host the championship.
Taking place from December 23 to 26, the match attracted the participation of around 104 male and female boxers from 21 clubs and associations across Cambodia. The update was shared by Secretary General of Cambodian Boxing Federation Competition, Bui Sopuan, who underlined that such competition is a good opportunity to further prepare Cambodian boxers for international contests, especially the 2022 Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam and the 2023 Southeast Asian Games in Cambodia.
A Utah jazz dancer received a marriage proposal during Utah's game against Charlotte at Vent Arena in Salt Lake City. She was dancing at the basketball pitch when her boyfriend entered. The public applauded and cheered at the marriage proposal.
Danielle Bush got stressed when her colleagues suddenly started performing a routine that she didn't recognize. She told local media she had been worried she would lose her job. The video shows surprised Bush surrounded by her smiling colleagues as they danced. Shortly after, she discovered her boyfriend kneeling in the middle of the basketball court. The surprise proposal was arranged by her boyfriend Brandon, who was hiding behind her until Danielle saw her lover going down on one knee on the big screen. She couldn't believe what was happening, holding her face in shock, but everything went well for the couple as Danielle said yes.
Kampot will have the 2021 National Boat Championships, scheduled to start today in the province. They run until the 25th of December. The traditional sport of Cambodia is the main attraction of these championships, and they're expected to promote such activities as well as strengthening the athletes' capacity.
Not only the 2021 National Boat Championship will be held in Kampot, but also the Samdech Sa Kheng Award. The update was shared by the permanent deputy president of the Cambodian Canoeing and Rowing Federation, Mias Sren, adding that the competition will be divided into 4 subjects. The first category will be for international standard traditional boat, dragon boat, carrying 12 athletes. Men will race for 1 kilometre, while women will compete for 500 metres. The second category is the men's 500 metre long and women's 200 metres long for kayak. The third category is men's 500 metres long and women's 200 metres long for canoe. And the fourth is men's 1,000 metres long and women's 500 metres long for rowing. The championship will happen on Friday and Saturday, attracting the participation of 354 athletes across Cambodia.
Barcelona have agreed a deal to sign Spanish forward Ferran Torres from Premier League champions Manchester City for a fee of around €55 million. That's $62 million.
Both Sky Sports and the BBC reported that Barca would pay City a further €10 million in add-ons for the 21-year-old Spanish international. The deal comes despite several financial difficulties at the club. They had to let club great Lionel Messi leave in the summer due to financial and structural obstacles and have debts of more than €1.31 billion. Their attacking options were weakened further with the retirement of striker Sergio Aguero last week due to a heart condition. City signed Torres in August last year on a 5-year deal for a reported fee of €23 million, but the former Valencia forward made only 43 appearances, scoring 16 times. Torres, who has played 22 times for Spain, scoring 12 goals, has been out of action since sustaining a minor fracture on his right foot during the UEFA Nations League campaign. Barcelona are 7th in La Liga after a poor start to the season, which resulted in the sacking of coach Ronald Koeman, with club great Xavi Hernandez taking over.
Christmas is about meaningful moments. For 2 millennia, people around the world have been observing it with traditions and practices that are both religious and secular in nature.
Christmas is an annual festival commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ, observed primarily on December 25th as a religious and cultural celebration among billions of people around the world. It is celebrated religiously by a majority of Christians, as well as culturally by many non-Christians. For a lot of people, especially kids, Santa Claus is a big part of Christmas. Santa Claus, also known as Father Christmas, Saint Nicholas, Saint Nick, Kris Kringle, or simply Santa, is a legendary character originating in Eastern Christian culture who is said to bring children gifts on Christmas Eve, such as toys and candy, depending on whether they have been naughty or nice. He is said to accomplish this with the aid of Christmas elves, who make the toys in his workshop at the North Pole, and flying reindeer who pull his sleigh through the air. Santa is generally depicted as a portly, jolly, white bearded man, often with spectacles, wearing a red coat with a white fur collar and cuffs, white fur cuffed red trousers, red hat, black leather belt, and boots, carrying a bag full of gifts for children. He is commonly portrayed as laughing in a way that sounds like ho 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 while riding his sleigh.
The long wait is coming to an end, and it is time to embark on a long and happy and exciting journey around the world. Christmas is about meaningful moments. We have been living in this very extraordinary time for 2 years. It is quite a long time for all of us, but just imagine what it must feel like for a 6-year-old child. These times have lasted for almost a third of their lifetime. I have heard some worrying news about the well-being and coping of children and young people around the globe. Now it is time to turn these worries into plenty of goodwill. Let's give time to children and young people and do something together. Let's make this Christmas happy and unforgettable for everybody. I wish you all very Merry Christmas.
Thanks for watching the weekly roundup here on the EAC News Channel. More from the EAC News team in the Daily Roundup, Monday night at 8 p.m. I'll see you then.